Hello, everyone, and welcome to the graduation ceremony of our PhD students of Institut Polytechnique de Paris. So, my name is Kate Sorg. I'll be your animator for tonight. I'm currently a second-year PhD student here at IP Paris in the Lab of Optics and Biosciences. So, for the graduates, I don't know yet how nice it is to sit where you're sitting, but I can tell you, as a PhD student, sometimes doing a PhD feels almost like a contradiction or a paradox. Our very first day, we show up in the lab, we're really excited. And we know at some point we're going to be doing a lot of work, eventually. But we have at least 3 years to do it. And in the beginning, 3 years feels so long. We have so much time to do everything that we plan to do, maybe to do some extra side projects. And then you start actually doing the work. You start getting into the thick of it, and you look around and you realize 3 years is nearly not long enough to do everything that we set out to do, to finish this monster of a task or a project that we planned to do. All of a sudden, just 3 years turns into some really long days, followed by some really long nights, followed by some really short weekends. It turns into writing a million different drafts of each chapter of your manuscript, and somehow your supervisor is still going to send you a full synopsis of comments afterwards. It turns into, well, what does it turn into? It turns into moments like this, really. What does it turn into? Yeah, it just turns into the idea that sometimes we even have these ideas or these experiments that we are so certain should work. It should be so easy, it should be so straightforward, and we try it, and we try it again. We try it a million times, every single way possible that we can think, and it just never works, and it almost feels cursed in the end. So 3 years almost vanishes. But these graduates here know very well all of the blood, sweat, plenty of tears, and just so much pure effort that goes into this accomplishment. And if I had to guess, the friends and family who are here to support them today probably heard every single one of their complaints along the way. It's true, as PhD students, we do like to complain about doing our PhD work. But honestly, doing a PhD is something absolutely incredible. Last I checked, only 2% of the entire world population has a PhD. That means for the graduates, you've truly considered and brought a new knowledge to the world that did not exist before in a way that very few people have achieved to do, which is something absolutely incredible. So please take today to truly feel proud of yourselves and the accomplishments that you've done, and to receive and accept the love and support from your friends and family who are here to celebrate with you. So, without further ado, I'd like to invite to the stage Jamal Latif, so Vice President of Research and Innovation at IP Paris.
Thanks a lot, Kate. 2%, huh? So welcome to the cult. Well, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, dear doctoral graduates, dear families and friends, it's a privilege and a genuine emotion to stand before you here today to celebrate a defining milestone, the awarding of your doctoral degrees. You are 260 graduates this year. Behind this number lies what truly matters: several years of sustained effort, intellectual rigor, and resilience. A doctorate is not only a diploma, it has been said by Kate, it's a deep personal transformation, and trust me, I know what it is. It's a kind of a rite of passage. It reflects your ability to formulate original questions, to navigate uncertainty, and we do need it, and to produce knowledge that did not exist before. For that, you deserve our respect and our warmest congratulations. I would like to acknowledge those who have accompanied you along the way, your supervisors, of course, your teammates, research teams, your lab directors and staff, the doctoral school, and the graduate school as well. And I want to expand a special thought to your families and loved ones, whose presence, often discreet but decisive, has been an essential part of your journey. Let me also congratulate here the recipients of the IP Paris Thesis Awards. Where are they? Can you raise your hands, please? Wow, it's impossible to see you from here. Well, your work exemplifies the level of excellence, creativity, and impact that we aim to foster across all our doctoral programs. This cohort, your cohort, reflects who we are. You come from 30 different nationalities, including, of course, France, and you are 42%, or 42% of you are international graduates. This diversity is not incidental. It's a core strength that we cultivate here at IP Paris. It's what allows us to approach complex scientific and societal challenges with plurality of perspectives. At the same time, 72 of you are women, representing 28% of this graduating class. This reminds us that progress is real, but also that our collective effort toward greater gender balance in science must continue with determination. With other words, we still have work to do. I also want to emphasize a structural strength of our institution, the close articulation between engineering and research. At IP Paris, a significant proportion of engineering graduates choose to pursue a PhD. This is good news. And it's not just a secondary path, it's a strategic asset, I would say. In a world where technological leadership, industrial competitiveness, and scientific sovereignty are increasingly intertwined, the ability to train engineers who are also researchers is decisive. You have chosen a demanding path, one that favors depth over immediacy, understanding over simplification. In doing so, you engage not only with the major challenges of our time, of course, climate change, biodiversity loss, energy transitions, AI, but also with the deeper, less immediately visible layers of knowledge, fundamental, curiosity-driven, blue-sky research. This work, sometimes without immediate application, is in fact the bedrock of future breakthroughs. These challenges require more than expertise. They call for responsibility, critical thinking, and engagement with society. Science does not evolve in isolation. As new doctors, you will contribute not only to advancing knowledge, but also to informing public debate and supporting evidence-based decision-making that we do need. This leads me to a point I consider essential: the conditions under which science is produced. We are living in a time of heightened geopolitical tension, increased competition for talent, and in some contexts, growing pressure on academic freedom. In this environment, Europe, and of course France, must uphold a clear and demanding model, one based on institutional autonomy, scientific integrity, and the free circulation of ideas. These are not abstract principles. They are the very condition for producing robust and trustworthy knowledge. At IP Paris, we are committed to this model. We invest in interdisciplinarity. We have 7 interdisciplinary centers, strengthen our international partnerships, and strive to provide an environment where scientific ambition can fully express itself with rigor, openness, and responsibility. So, dear graduates, by earning your doctorate today, you join a model of community, a global community, one defined by a shared commitment to understanding, discovering, and transmitting knowledge. This is a responsibility, but also a remarkable freedom, the freedom to explore, to question, to innovate, and to build. Wherever your path leads, academia, industry, public service, or entrepreneurship, you carry with you a method, a mindset, and values that are critically needed. We are proud of you, and we are counting on you. Let me conclude by expressing my sincere thanks to the teams of the Graduate School and to all administrative staff whose work, often behind the scene, is essential to the success of every doctoral journey. I wish you all success in the next chapter of your careers and life. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamal, for this very inspirational speech. Now I would like to invite onto the stage Adriana Tapus and Olivier Lemaitre. So Adriana Tapus, director of the IP Paris Doctoral School, and Olivier Lemaitre, the director of the Doctoral School of Hadamard Mathematics.
Hey. Hello, everyone. So, dear colleagues, distinguished doctors, esteemed family members, and honored guests. So I'm Adriana Tapus, and so I'm the director of the Doctoral School of IP Paris, so many of you maybe know me already. And together with my colleague, Professor Olivier Lemaitre, IP Paris representative of the Hadamard Doctoral School of Mathematics, it is both an honor and a great pleasure to warmly welcome you to this IP Paris PhD graduation ceremony. First and foremost, let me extend my sincere and heartfelt congratulations to the 260 new doctors we celebrate today. 212 from the Doctoral School of IP Paris and 48 from the Hadamard Doctoral School of Mathematics. As it was said before, among you, we proudly count 72 women and 110 international graduates representing 29 nationalities, a reflection of the rich diversity, outstanding excellence, and international spirit that define IP Paris. Today is far more than a formal ceremony. It is a celebration for your dedication, your perseverance, and your intellectual achievement. So many of you are surrounded today by loved ones, family members, friends, partners, spouses. I saw even some small children and mentors, people who are just as proud and thrilled as we are to witness this milestone. Your journey has been long and demanding, years devoted to rigorous, cutting-edge research, requiring creativity, resilience, and discipline. By earning your doctorate from IP Paris, one of the world's leading institutions, you have demonstrated your ability to contribute meaningfully to the advancement of knowledge. I would like to express our deep gratitude to your families and friends for their unwavering support, patience, and encouragement. And of course, to your supervisors, professors, and mentors, whose expertise and guidance have been essential in shaping the accomplished researchers you are today. You may now ask yourselves, what truly changed from this day and forward? I think first, you now carry the title of doctor, a distinction that recognizes your expertise and your commitment to knowledge. Second, you have reached the highest academic degree, and with it, the capacity to conduct independent, rigorous, and impactful research in your field. Third, and perhaps most importantly, you have developed a strong scientific mindset, one that equips you to analyze complexity, challenge assumptions, and innovate in a rapidly evolving world. Indeed, in a time when our societies are transforming at an unprecedented pace, driven by technological, environmental, and societal changes, the need for highly trained experts like you has never been greater. Your knowledge, your critical thinking, and your ability to generate new ideas are essential to addressing the challenges of today and shaping the world of tomorrow. The degree you receive today is not only a diploma, it is a symbol of your resilience, your curiosity, and your commitment to advancing knowledge. It opens the doors to a wide range of opportunities in academia, industry, public service, and entrepreneurship. As you move forward, we encourage you to remain ambitious, to explore new horizons, to trust your abilities, and to stay guided by integrity and purpose. Be proud not only of what you have achieved, but also of your connection to IP Paris and its vibrant community. And to conclude, let me leave you with the words of Louis Pasteur: chance favors the prepared minds. Congratulations once again, and we are immensely proud of all of you. So I would like to welcome now on the scene the scientific coordinators who are part of the doctoral schools. So Amel Bouzegoub, Thomas Bonald, Benjamin Doer, Lyrida Naviner, Frédéric Lechman, Nicolas David, Cédric Tar, Philippe Thomas, Mathieu Nguyen, Davide Boschetto, Nicolas Motis, Alessandro Riboni, Sébastien Michelin, Abibou Metournam, Yann Polcher, and Frédéric Breschenmacher. Thank you all for your invaluable contributions, your commitment to ensure the strength and excellence of our doctoral schools. Okay. And now, let me introduce our distinguished keynote speaker, Julien Méral. Dr. Méral received his PhD in 2010 from ENS Cachan. Prior to that, he completed his undergraduate studies at École Polytechnique and also graduated from Télécom Paris and ENS Cachan in 2006 with a master's degree. Following his PhD, he spent 2 years as a postdoctoral researcher in statistics department at University of California, Berkeley, before joining INRIA in 2012. He was awarded an ERC starting grant in 2016 and an ERC consolidated grant in 2023. Also, in 2023, he received the Young Researcher Award from INRIA Académie des Sciences. His research interests include machine learning, optimization, statistical signal, and image processing and computer vision. So please join me in welcoming him to the stage.
Okay. Thank you for these invitations. I'm really honored to be part of this ceremony. And I should probably start by congratulating all of you who got a PhD, and it's a nice achievement after 3 years of efforts, or sometimes a bit more. So I will start by telling you a few words about myself. Hopefully I will share some messages, share a few stories. And it's particularly important for me because after spending a few years on this exact same amphitheater, I'm now on the other side of the stage. So I started, before doing my PhD, I joined first a master program, which is called MVA from INS Paris-Saclay today, doing something which was not very, was not considered to be very fashionable, which was called machine learning. And very few people who are interested in this topic. If I remember correctly, we were about 30 PhD students in the master program. And today, this master program has more than 300 students. So then, after doing that, I did a PhD, still on the same topic. I was interested in problems such as image processing, machine learning, and so on, and started doing a bit of computer vision, which means teaching machines how to see. And then, after my PhD journey, came 2 fantastic years at UC Berkeley. And that's one of the first messages I want to send you, which is that if you have the opportunity to do a postdoc abroad, it's really an experience which in the vast majority of cases is really rewarding. Of course, you may tell me that perhaps the United States are maybe not as, it's inspiring as they used to be 20 years ago. Perhaps yes, perhaps it will change in the near future. But really the opportunity to spend 2 years fully on research in a different environment is something that is really worth doing. So then I joined INRIA, Research Institute in Computer Science and Applied Mathematics in Grenoble. Well, first, before I have to say that something that I learned during my postdoc was that pluridisciplinary research was also something which was also rewarding as doing a postdoc. I actually joined a statistics department, which was now we were doing things that people are calling today data science. And the leader of the group I was, the Professor Binu, was also often quoting a famous statistician called John Tukey, who once said, apparently, that the best thing about being a statistician is that you get to play in everyone's backyard. So what does that mean? It means that if you have the opportunity to collaborate with other fields, you learn many, many things. It's really an entry point to lots of knowledge. And as an example, on these slides, there are many words that I'm not going to comment about my research topics, but there is this last part which I called AI for science, which have been driven my research for the last few years, which was really about pluridisciplinary research. So I had the chance to collaborate with people in bioinformatics, for example, neuroscience, geoscience, material science, astronomy. And, after this brief introduction about my research topic, I'm going to give you a few examples, because after all, it's not a crazy idea today to talk a bit about science. It's probably the right place to do that. And I will focus on this part which I call scientific imaging, which is about, it's still about the topic about teaching machines to see. And the first example, and yes, last thing I forgot, and I'm going to talk a bit more about this, is also that I co-founded a startup 3 years ago. It's also it gives also new challenges to the life of a researcher. Okay, let's talk about scientific imaging at a very tiny scale, between 20 and 50 nanometers. And where the credit of what I'm going to show is actually the work of a PhD student, Romain Sehaï, also because we are at a place where it's also good to give credit to PhD students, even so most of you are not PhD students anymore, or at least at the end of the ceremony you will graduate. Okay, so what's the problem that Romain was working on? It was a problem which was called fluorescence microscopy. And so people who are designing optical systems for biology have, crazy ideas. They developed chemical compounds that can be fixed to biological structures that are very tiny. And then these chemical structures have the ability to emit light if you excite them with a laser. They emit light in various ways. They actually flicker. They send some tiny amounts of light. And detecting where the light comes from gives you the ability to detect what is the shape, what actually are we seeing at this extremely tiny resolution. So what you observe actually is what you have on the bottom right. You have something which is noisy, and you have these blobs that flicker. And the goal will be to reconstruct the biological structure from this data. The additional information we have is that this blob have a different shape, a shape that depends on the depth, such that by looking at a small blob, you can also have some information of the depth in your biological sample. Why is that? Because they design an optical system such that the appearance of these small chemical compounds depends on the depth. They used lenses that are with some astigmatism that gives you a change of shape when you move away from the focal plane. And then the goal is to do that. Okay, you have on the left video sequence, which actually is pretty long in practice. You may have more than 10,000 frames. You have lots of noise, and you try to detect each time you see one of these elements. And on the right, you start reconstructing. And after a while, if you are doing a good job, you're able to observe something like this. I think it's supposed to move. Yes, you get something in 3D. So it's something quite fascinating. I discovered this topic actually at the beginning of this collaboration with biologists. That was about a bit more than a year ago. And okay, we can have results like this. So I have no idea, by the way, what are these biological structures exactly, but then the biologists are here to tell us if they are happy with the results. Okay, let us move away from the nanometer scale, or more precisely, let us go to 63 light years, quite lots of nanometers. So that's another example of the work of a PhD student, Theo Baudrito, who is the second on the picture here, and also the work of Olivier Flasser, who was a postdoc with the people on the right, in the middle, Jean Ponce in computer vision, and two astronomers, Anne-Marie Lagrange and Maud Langlois. So this is a picture that we did not acquire. It was, I'm showing you here, one of the first pictures of an exoplanet that has been seen in 2008 in the lab of Anne-Marie Lagrange. So you have a star in the middle, which is where the light of the star is actually blocked by a coronagraph. And there is some processing that allows you to produce this picture. You can actually see that near this star called Beta Pictoris, you have this small signal that represents an exoplanet. It's called Beta Pictoris b. What's quite fascinating is that once you know that there is an exoplanet, you can actually use recording of lots of observations. So here, this is actually one of the first movies of an exoplanet rotating around the star, the host star, by using 70 years of observations. So the goal of the collaboration we had was to develop machine learning tools, or AI tools, to help producing these pictures. So it's a very complicated problem. First, you need to have some tools to observe the star, and the tools that we use, they are these gigantic telescopes that are built in Chile. They are on Earth. Even so, we are also using data from the James Webb Telescope these days. There are also big projects that are really incredible in terms of engineering and science. So this is a fake picture of a project which is, I think, almost finished. It's called the ELT, for Extremely Large Telescope. It's something which has a mirror of 29 meters of diameters. So it's huge. Imagine the weight of that, made of 800 small pieces. There are also, at some point, a deformable mirror that will correct the atmospheric perturbation. It's something that is incredibly complicated for someone like me who is doing computer science, often on a computer or on a few computers. I will skip that because the main message will be simply to tell you, let me, if I can I skip the video? Yes or no? Yes. So then I will simply, I just want to go back to Earth and tell you that doing that is complicated, because at the end of the day, what you get is indeed something to do with your computer. Even so you have these nice telescopes, they don't see the exoplanet. In reality, the ratio between the signal of an exoplanet and the star in the visible light is something like 10 to the power 9. It corresponds to seeing a firefly around a lighthouse that may be in Brest, for example, but you are looking at the lighthouse from New York. So that's what we are doing right now in this kind of projects. And we have data that is a sequence of acquisition around the star, and it turns out that the signal is completely hidden in some noise, which is due to the light of the star that goes through the atmosphere, which is due to the fact that the optical system is not perfect. It's due to many things. It's a noise that we call speckle, and the goal of the tools that we develop is to remove that. Okay, that was an example of a project which takes place 63 light years away. Then we come back to Earth, and comes a different story for me, which is a startup we co-founded after the work of a PhD student, which was co-advised by myself and Jean Ponce on one of the last pictures. After this PhD, who graduated in 2023, I think, we co-founded a startup called Enhance Lab, which is about enhancing the quality of images taken by various optical systems, in particular smartphones or other cameras that can be used in the industry, for example. So today we have a startup with all of the people are there. So it's a small startup which commercializes super resolution technology. So what is a super resolution? You take, for example, this small sequence of images, and the video does not play. Okay, it's fine. I will skip to the next one. Oh no, it plays. We have a few images like that, and we want to reconstruct something which is much better in terms of resolution and noise. Another example is we also play with videos. So this is a picture taken by a camera, which is a quite expensive camera, that consumer grade, still consumer grade camera. If you zoom with the camera, you get this. Now, if you apply some super resolution techniques, it looks crazy. It seems that we are able to do, what you see in these movies, where from 1 pixel you create, I don't know, a license plate. So in fact, there is, of course, there is no magic here. What we do is that we exploit the redundancy of the signal that we have in the video. We see actually in a video you have much more information about a scene than a single image, because you see the scene from many different points of views with small variations. And in fact, you actually have the information to reconstruct what you have on the right from the video on the left. So that's what we are commercializing right now. So I could spend lots of time talking to you about, the experience, entrepreneurship experience that I have, which is quite tiny, but it was something very different from all I showed you before, which was about my research career. Because, when you start putting technology in the real world, you have to ask yourself many questions. Is it robust? Can you afford to have a technology that has a good average precision, whereas what you care maybe is that is about worst case precision. Examples like that. You need also to have to be able to communicate with people who are from a very different background than you. For example, investors, people who may buy or not the technology, or you may also get inspired by the industrial problems that you discover. That's so that's quite a recent experience. That could be also the future for some of you, and will be probably, given the number of people who are graduating in the room. I'm pretty sure some of you are going to join startups. It's also different types of experience. So what did we learn from a scientific point of view? What I learned from this pluridisciplinary collaboration is that something interesting is that what we call ground truth data never exists. So in machine learning, we often train systems to, given some noisy data, you try to recover some ground truth data, and these systems are trained to map the noisy data to the ground truth data. Turns out that, let's take the example of exoplanets. Ground truth data, we don't have ground truth data. We don't know what is a true image of an exoplanet. All we have is the output of some optical system with heavy processing, And for example, today there are maybe not more than 50 exoplanets that have actually been seen in some optical system. Most of them that have been detected, about maybe today it's maybe 5,000, they have been detected simply by the indirect effect they have on the data. So ground truth data never exists in all of these projects, but physics is useful. It's something that actually can be useful to encode physics rules in machine learning system and not use only black boxes that produce things that are hard to calibrate, for example. The topic of uncertainty quantification and calibration in the real world, it's extremely hard. And probably some of you have been working on this topic. Last examples I want to show you are collaborations with industry about teaching machines to see, but not only to see, in fact, to understand the content of images. So I'm not claiming that the machine will understand anything. It's just that, in computer vision, one of the goals of the field is to develop image models that help you to analyze automatically the content of a scene. And here, two PhD students, former PhD students, Mathilde Caron and Timothée Darcé, on the two pictures, developed various techniques. One of them is called Dino. I think the video will run. Yes, no? Okay, if it doesn't run, it's not a big deal. Let me press, okay. I just needed to press twice. What was Dino? It was an image model that could help analyze the semantic content of a scene without using any annotation. So it's just using vast amounts of unlabeled data and using various AI techniques. It's able to recognize, that there is a concept of a dog, for example, that there is a concept of a horse, and so on. Then we can also move to the work of another PhD student, Juliette Marie on the left, still in collaboration with another company. Okay, we have also this, the question of extending all of this to 3D. So this is, again, some example of work where we try to extend image models to the 3D because the real world is not only in 2 dimensions, so we need to move closer to the real world, and that was the goal of these types of projects. Okay, so I'm almost done. Still only 1 minute left, I see here, and I want to spend 1 minute talking about someone else than myself. Exactly 10 years ago, there is a great scientist called David Mackay who passed away. And I think he's also someone you should know about. He was a true scientist doing pluridisciplinary research as well. He was one of the most known scientists in information theory. And around maybe 2006, 2007, he decided that climate change was actually a huge problem. And for that, he got invested with the public, with politics. He became a chief scientific advisor of the UK government. And he has also written some books. One of them is one of the big references in information theory. The other one is a book about climate change and energy, which looks a bit like what you can see, for example, in a Jean Covici comics book, except that it was done about 20 years ago, so I think it's for me, it's one of the most important scientists, and I'm very happy to share these small stories about him to conclude my presentation.
Thank you, Julien, for this absolutely fascinating presentation of your work, which is super, super interesting. I thought it was awesome. So now we're going to pass to the part of the ceremony where each student will have their name called and they can pass across the stage and receive their stole. This will be done by department, and we'll divide the departments into 2 different groups. So we start with group 1, which starts with the Department of Economics.
So I'm going to call the PhD from economics. So the first one is Marion Brouwer. So the second one is Léa Dubreuil. And we have Mohamed Karai. We have Francisco Magalhães Barros. And the last one is Thomas Monnier. So these are the list of people who don't come here. Claire, Federica, Morgan, Sofiane, and Jean-Philippe. So congratulations to all of them.
Now we will pass to the next domain of computing, data, and artificial intelligence.
So I would like to welcome on the stage Adam Umar Abdel Rahman. Mohamed Abdullah. Ferran Alborch Escobar. François Ama. Nishal Arial. Émile Barbier-Renard. Maxime Bédouin. Eric Béhar. Danil Béra. Manon Blanc. Tara Butler. Mikhail Chatsianastasis. Sarah Chenoufi. Lijun Shi. Simon Koum. Romain Dania. Louis de Oliveira Soiro. Carl de Souza Trias. Maxime Dupuis. Hugo Durchon. Anna Filali Razuki. Victor Gaia. Ashraf Guillet. Racim Adieres. Hajar Hamouche. Lorenzo Hermes. Wei Huang. Amir Reza Jafari Terrani. Eli Kadosh. Rémi Kazmirzak. Ali Keshavarzi. Adrien Lafage. Anaël Ledeva. Meroua Moussaoui. Franco Petrone Cordeiro. Syed Morsan Raza. Zachary Sadedine. Gabriel Espadaro. Quang Hui Tran. Ayub Dehbi. Kun Sang. We would also like to congratulate to the following doctors that could not be here with us today.
Now we can pass to the next domain of social sciences and management.
So, Laure Collin. Arthur de Forge de Parny. Okay. And so these are the PhD that could not be here with us today from the Social Sciences and Management.
Next, we should pass on to the Department of Humanities, Art, Literature, and Languages. And it looks like today we can congratulate these two people who could not be here in person. Please give them a round of applause. And now we can pass to the Department of Mathematics.
So it's my pleasure to welcome the new fresh doctors in mathematics, starting with Ali Haboud. Mehdi Abou Al-Qasim. Ali Hassad. Rafael Carpintero Perez. Farah Shaban. Maria Sherifa. Yusra Sherkawi Tanji. Marius Duvillard. Melville El Kamel Mérigne. Orso Forghieri. Voilà. Okay. Emmanuel Camérer. Samael Markovia. Cyril Malaisé. Morgane Matevet. Elisa Ndai. Falou Niak. Maxime Payan. Simone Pescuma. Emmanuel Sfendourakis. Daniel Chapkin, qui n'est pas là, et Antoine Van Biesbroek. So you can also congratulate students that could not, well, ex-students that could not be here today. So here are the list of also the PhD of this year. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations to the first group who has already passed. And I would like to invite back to the stage two of our recent graduates, very recent graduates, Carl de Sousa Trias of the Doctoral School of IP Paris, who is here somewhere, and Farah Shaban, graduate of the Hadamard Doctoral School of Mathematics.
Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations for being a doctor, fellow colleagues. This year we were a journey, and I will share some words about mine. I'm Carl, born in a small city in the southwest of France, Bayonne, also part of the Basque Country, Euskal area. I started my academical journey far from home at 18 years old. And even since this year, 2016, there were physical distance with my home and family. They were always my foundation. So I would like to thank you, Mom, Dad, my sister, and my grandparents. My journey at IP Paris started at Telecom Sud Paris in 2018. Wanted full-time to be in an engineering school, not that easy to pronounce. You learn a lot and met wonderful people. And on my side, I even met love, because there is my now fiancée that I love and cherish the most, because she supported me and standing my behavior and mood changing during the whole 3 years of my PhD. Thank you, Marina. I don't know for you, but my will to do a PhD started quite lately, because it was during the final year internship when I was an engineering computer vision student with 6 months at Safran. And I didn't want yet to be an engineer. So I asked my tutor, can you do something about it? And he said, I have a PhD opening position, just try it. And luckily, I was taken. And fun fact about this thesis is that it was part of a bigger project. And I have 5 thesis directors. So unlike most of you, it was not my director that I love a lot of students, but me, which has 5 directors of thesis between Telecom Paris and Telecom Sud Paris. Thanks for their support. Concerning the thesis in itself, there were some few points that I want to share with you. First, when you submit a paper to a conference, you have the chance to maybe have a business trip fully funded by your school, which is a good thing. You create a new network, you look for new cities and countries, and most of all, you learn about new dishes that you most of the time never have tried before. Second, your desk colleague. I call them desk colleague because most of the time you don't work on the same subject, but even if you don't understand between yourself, you understand the feeling, the fact to be doing a PhD. So I want to thank them a lot for their support. They make me end this PhD with a lot of pleasure. Thank you, colleague, and I also take advantage to share thanks all of my friends. The last thing is the defense in itself. It was 11th of June 2025, a very stressful day, but also a day I hope you are all proud of. You come, there is your friends, your family, and of course, your respectful jury member. You have 45 minutes to share 3 years of, and sometimes more than 3 years of work. It's very intense. You do some kind of Q&A and you might do quite okay. It depends on how was your day. And then you ask to leave. And you are in the room just waiting for the final decision. They call you back, and if you are in this room, it means that you've made it. Congratulations for being a doctor. As of today, I'm still inside Telecom Sud Paris as a postdoc. IP Paris gave me more just a diploma because I'm a laureate of AAP penetration project, and I'm now founded to do a startup based on my research. So I would like also to thank you for your trust, IP Paris. I will leave the stage to my ADMH college, and again, kudos to everyone.
So good afternoon, everyone. Today is a very special moment, and I'm really happy to be standing here among all of you. First of all, congratulations to my fellow graduates. We made it somehow. Like many of us, I started this journey with curiosity, motivation, and probably a slightly unrealistic idea of what research would be like. A few years ago, before starting my PhD, I knew I wanted to continue my studies in France, but I definitely did not imagine I would go this far. So I did my undergraduate studies in Lebanon, then applied for a master's degree in France. I was lucky to receive a merit-based scholarship through FMGH, Fondation Mathématique Jacques Adamar, which gave me the chance to continue my studies here. During my master's, I had the opportunity to do an internship at the UMA laboratory at INSTA Paris, and I really enjoyed the research environment. That's one of the reasons why I chose to do my PhD at INSTA. So the quality of research, the environment, and the opportunity to work in a strong and supportive team were very important to me. So, and then the PhD really began, and that's where things got interesting. So during these years, I learned that sometimes the biggest problem have very small causes, like spending hours trying to fix a piece of code, only to realize you forgot a tiny symbol, or spending day trying to understand a theoretical result, and then suddenly it clicks, maybe in about 5 seconds. So research is a very unique experience. You can spend weeks feeling completely lost, and then one day you understand something small, and it feels like a huge victory. So it's not a straight line. It's more like trying, failing, and trying again. And sometimes realizing you've been going in the wrong direction for 1 month. So it can be frustrating in the moment, but those are the moments that make the journey memorable. So this PhD gave me much more than a diploma. It taught me how to think, how to be patient when things take time, and that learning never really stops. So today I'm continuing this journey as a postdoctoral research at INRIA Paris, where I'm still learning and exploring new questions. And while the research is important, what truly made this experience meaningful for me was the people. So the lab was more than just a workplace. It was a place where we could exchange ideas, support each other, and grow together. And most importantly, the memories with the other PhD students are what I will keep the most. So the conferences, the moment in the lab, and the outings, even in the lunches, it was never just about research. So we often started with scientific discussions, and within 5 minutes, we were talking about what to eat for lunch. And at some point, you realized you're not just colleagues anymore. You became friends. So to all of you, thank you. This journey would not have been the same without you. I would also like to thank my supervisors, Patrick and Mahran. Thank you for your guidance, your patience, and your trust. You helped me grow not only as a researcher, but also as a person. And to my parents, my sisters, and my fiancé, thank you for your constant support, encouragement, and understanding, especially during the difficult times. This achievement is yours as well. And maybe thanks to me for not giving up, for staying patient, and for continuing even when I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And finally, a few words to my fellow PhD graduates. So today we celebrate the end of this long journey, and we all take different paths, worked on different topics, faced different challenges, but we all made it here, and that's something to be proud of. So wherever we go next, I'm sure we'll carry what we learned with us. And maybe most importantly, we know now that even things that once felt impossible can be achieved step by step. So once again, congratulations to all of you, and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Carl and Farah. Those were really nice insights into what the life of a PhD student is actually like, leading up to the wonderful ending. So now we're going to start with the second group of domains to pass all of the students through the stage, and we're going to start with biology.
So for biology, it's my pleasure to congratulate Amélie Elouin. Robin Cuner. Dorian Nouri. And congratulations to those who could not be here today.
Hopefully in a couple years, it'll be me passing with biology on stage. But now we're going to pass to the Department of Chemistry.
Okay, thank you. For the Department of Chemistry, we're going to start with Asma Belghiti Alawi. And now, Laurine Busson. Marie-Sophie Diaz-Fernandez. Antoine Gamet. Shan San Yu. Juan Pablo Medina Flechas. Ingrid Popovici. Et enfin, Edgar Velasquez Sarmiento. And let's congratulate all the PhD students who couldn't make it today. With their name here, maybe. There's a few. No? Okay. Yeah.
Now we're moving along to the Department of Information, Communications, and Electronics.
Now it's my pleasure to congratulate Julien Béguineau. Pierre-Augustin Bertel. Yue Bi. Thomas Chen. Julal Kiraz. Zonglong Lee. Biruk Ashinafi Mulugeta. Sylvain Nehonda. Guillaume Ricard. Khazieh Sharifi. Maxime Spiropoulos. Ibo Wong. And Sarah Zaminga. Congratulations also to the other doctors who could not be here with us.
Now we're moving along to the next department of Engineering, Mechanics, and Energy.
Okay, for Engineering, Mechanics, and Energy, I'm happy to congratulate Kevin Ancourt. Hugo Dornier. Nina Du. Bartolomeo Fanizza. Félix Lango. Singieli, Julia Merini, great Ogugwa. Lia Rapela. Loïc Sambart. Sarah Taché. Manon Thébault. Tian Wu. And congratulations to all who cannot be here today.
And last but certainly not least, we're passing to the Department of Physics.
It's my honor to announce the graduates in physics, starting with Soraya Alsati. Sami Anabi. Anatole Berger. Abderraouf Bounjad. Oh. Antoine Cavagna. Adrien Chéniaud. Marco Chiusi. Amérique Couriot. Isaac L. Lida Calipoliti. Hannah Lamar. Nicolas Lequette. Shuang Li. Guillaume Métrier. Joséphine Monsac. Anastu Mukherjee. Andrés Munoz. Poncia Nyayembo Kasango. Hannes Rickert. Dia Sadi. Louis Sauguet. Anna Skulacz. Zhang Chu. Marie Sigaillon. David Tidel. Jean-Gabriel Thirier. And Pierre Wang. And congratulations to the physicists who could not be here.
So congratulations again to all of our graduates who are, well, no longer PhD students, but PhD graduates. That also makes you alumni. So next I'd like to invite to the stage Nancy Nguyen, who is the president of the IP Paris Alumni Association, and we'll tell you a little bit more about the next steps.
So, dear graduates, family members, and friends, I would like, of course, to congratulate you and extend you my heartfelt wish and feelings. Today is a testament of your hard work and dedication. So as Kate said, my name is Nancy Nguyen, and I'm an alumna of the Master in Energy program of 2020. And since the creation of IP Paris, we have been needing a central unity to gather the growing community of our alumni. So today I'm happy to stand before you as the president of the IP Paris Graduate Alumni Association. Our aim is to provide a platform for interaction while creating a sense of belonging to IP Paris. Networking mixers, career panels, mentorship programs, alumni reunions, you name it, we have plenty of ideas to create meaningful experiences that will contribute to your personal and professional growth. So here you can see the board, and I don't know. We also created a quick website this year that I think you will receive a message to access to, because you can also, and I invite you to join us on this journey by scanning the QR code on the left, which will give you access to a Google form to register to the association. And just so you know, for the moment, as the association is getting built, it will be free for the first few years. And if you only want to have updates on our activities and events, you can also follow us on our LinkedIn page on the QR code on the right. So I'll let you the time to scan that. And so please come and talk to us. Let's get to know each other, of course. I would like to hear from you suggestions or any wish that you want for the association. And I really hope and look forward to meet many of you. So it was short, and I hope that I will see you again. And for the time being, I will congratulate you once again on this milestone and wish you the very best for this next chapter of your life. Thank you very much.
It's me again. So we are now pleased to announce the IP Paris Best Thesis Awards and the Department Awards. So this year we received 68 applications, all of which were thoroughly examined by the Commission. So the deliberation process was particularly challenging given the outstanding quality of the submissions. So for all these reasons, we are proud to award 2 ex aequo IP Paris Best Thesis Awards this year. So the 2 laureates are Manon Thibault and Emmanuel Cameret. You're welcome, both of you, to come. Come. It's so funny. Attends, Ça reste pas. And so let's give them like a big round of applause again. And I would like, and so right now I would like to welcome Emmanuel Cameret to the stage, and so for his first presentation.
Thank you very much. So, yes, I will talk about random three-half stable maps. But first, I will start with some motivation from physics, even if I'm not a physicist at all. So, in order to reconcile quantum physics and relativity, some physicists in the 80s, some of them from the plateau of Saclay, introduced two different models of quantum gravity in dimension 2. The first one on the left is a model of random planar maps, which is a random lattice. And the other one on the right is a continuous model, which is called the Liouville quantum gravity. And it is defined as a random measure on the disk. And these two models are conjectured to be related to each other. And an important result is in the case where you take a random map uniformly at random, then the scaling limit was obtained 15 years ago, and is called the Brownian sphere. So you see it is a very, very spiky random scaling limit, and this scaling limit was identified to the Liouville quantum gravity. So in the pure gravity case, the limit is known. The two models agree. But then there is a question: if you add a statistical physics model to your random map, then you obtain some interface in red. And the conjecture is that the geometry will still be given by some Liouville quantum gravity, but the interfaces, they will be given by a collection of random loops, of random fractal loops on the right, which were introduced also 15 years ago. And so let me tell you how to tackle these random maps with a statistical physics model. So a very simple idea is to remove the interfaces, everything which is in the interface, and then you obtain a random map which has large faces, which is called a stable map. And then let me conclude maybe using maybe a statement of a theorem. So you can look at the distances from these large faces to the root face, so the outer face. And then what I obtain is that if you divide it by some quantity which goes to infinity, then it converges to a distance from the boundary to the loops of the conformal loop ensemble.
And maybe I will conclude on this. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Very inspiring and excellent thesis. So now I would like to invite Manon again, so you can start and present.
So hello everyone. I did my PhD at Laboratoire de Mécanique des Solides under the supervision of Claire Lestringo and Basile Odoli. And during this PhD, I've mainly focused on structures composed of a periodic assembly of identical cells, like the one you can see here with an hexagonal cell. These structures, they are called architect materials, and they have raised significant interest over the past few years because you can tune the arrangement of cells, that is the microstructure, so as to achieve very extreme properties. So typically, you can design very efficient waveguides and shock absorbers with this structure. The difficulty is that it costs a lot from a computational standpoint to simulate this material because of the very complex microstructure. So what people usually do is that they use what is called homogenization in order to identify a homogeneous material that behaves the same but is simpler in terms of modeling. And during my PhD, I have focused on a particular type of homogenization, which is called second order, and it presents the benefit over the classical model to be valid even for a number of cells in the sample that is not too large. And so this permits to propose some models that have this form. So you have an equation where the black terms is the classical model, and with the second order one, you can refine it with an additional blue correction. And this correction depends on the unit cell size. The problem is that you have an equation to describe the material behavior far from the boundaries, but homogenization cannot tell you what is the equivalent equation close to the boundary. So the goal of my PhD was somehow to find something relevant to put in place of the question mark, that is to identify relevant boundary conditions for the model. And to do so, we followed an energy approach. So this is an approach where you first identify an energy, and then you obtain the boundary condition almost for free, simply by minimizing the energy. The problem, of course, is that then you have to identify a relevant energy, and such an energy was not available in the literature. So this is the main achievement of my PhD. It is to propose a relevant energy for 1D microstructures, but we hope to extend it to higher dimension. And I let you here with the prediction of the model for a 1D truss composed of rigid bars. As you can see, the second order model in red is almost indistinguishable from the exact discrete solution in black dots, even when we have only 3 cells in the model. And so I thank you all for your attention, and if you are interested, the publications are all freely available on my AL account.
Thank you very much, Manon. And now let me announce the department awards. So the best thesis award for the Information Communication and Electronics department is given to Julien Béguineau. So let's welcome Julien to the stage for his presentation.
Okay, so this work has been supervised by my great supervisor, Olivier Rioul, and as well by Sylvain Guillet. And it's about the evaluation of information leakage in the presence of side channel leakages. So what is it about? It's just about cryptography. So cryptology is the art to create some scheme to achieve secure communication in the presence of malicious adversaries. And cryptologists have long invented algorithms that ensure such security properties. And by a Kerckhoff principle that I like to call Shannon maxim, we should assume the knowledge of the system by the adversary, and the security should rely only on the secrecy of a secret key. And when seen as mathematical functions, this algorithm works perfectly fine, and cryptologists managed to obtain this desired primitive. However, cryptography don't run on paper, but on physical devices, and because of that, the sensitive values manipulated by this algorithm may reveal some information through, for instance, power consumption, electromagnetic emanation, and so on, which may be disastrous as the secret key can be easily recovered. And from the information heuristic perspective, which I'm interested in, this can be seen as an unintended communication channel from the secret key to the hardware to the attacker. And because of that, we could evaluate this problem using the lens of information theory to provide formal security guarantees for evaluation laboratories so that they can give the tightest security guarantees possible in order to achieve a given level of security. So this is basically the gist of this PhD. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Julien. So the best thesis award for the computer science, data, and AI department goes to Manon Blanc.
Thank you for the introduction. How do I pass the slides? Okay, perfect. Hi, so I'm a computer scientist, more precisely a theoretical computer scientist. So I'm interested in the mathematical modelization of the object we actually use in computer science. More precisely, I'm doing complexity theory, meaning I'm interested in how much resources in terms of memory or space and time you need to actually solve these problems. The thing is, in computer science, usually we live in the digital world. We do computation with bits. We have seen in the presentation earlier that a lot of people in other fields of science actually uses real quantities, okay? So that's what we call in computer science analog models of computation. So the main goal of my PhD was to have some nice characterization of what memory or space and time mean in the analog models of computation. So the underlying mathematical model for this are differential equations. So I've put you some example of, well, differential equations. I assure you, those are a very nice model. So yeah, how do we define the cost of computation? Our more precise framework were computable analysis and algebraic models. I'm definitely not going to get into detail for these two, but I'm just giving you the information. And the whole point was, once again, to have a nice characterization that we called algebraic characterizations. So we have like an example of what kind of results I have in my PhD. And with the motto that in analog models, times equal length of the solution of the differential equation, and space equal precision, the precision you actually want for your outputs. And I had some nice application to dynamical systems in my PhD. Yeah, thank you for your attention.
Thank you for this inspiring also presentation. So the best thesis award for the economics department goes to Marion Brouard.
All right, so thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. And so I'm going to present to you briefly one of the chapters of my PhD, and let me jump right away into the motivation. So in France today, 20% of young adults live below the poverty line. against 14% for the rest of the population. 2 over 3 students declare depriving themselves for 1 meal a week because of financial hardship. And so the question that we can ask is, okay, is the government failing to address this welfare issue? Should we increase social assistance to young adults? Should we redistribute from older to young adults? And so that's what this paper is about. And so the way I handle this question is to say, oh, we can have a look. Basically, we can do a framework, a model, to kind of isolate the key parameters to think about this question. And then once we isolate the key parameter we need to estimate, then we can directly go and estimate this parameter. And I do so using bank transaction data, in which you have information about our incoming transfer and outgoing transfers, as well as consumption at the transactional level. And so basically, the key things that you need to have from the model and that you need to think about, that's basically usually the objection that policymakers are making of why not to increase social assistance to young adults, are basically 3 key parameters. The first one is, well, maybe actually young adults do not value the transfer so much. They don't really need this transfer because, well, you know, they're young, they're poor, okay, but maybe they're just young, and so it's kind of a stepping stone. And so it's okay, and they can handle the situation of being poor. So us, as economists, what we can do is to say, okay, well, we can have an idea of this value of transfer, how much people actually need this transfer, by looking at what is the share of a government transfer that is consumed. And so that's precisely what I do with this bank transaction data. And what I show is that, well, indeed, young adults do value a lot more the transfer compared to older individuals. And so we should increase more transfer to them because they value it more. But then you have the second object of this model that says, well, but look, if we were to increase social assistance to young adults, maybe parents would decrease their own transfer in response to that, decrease the transfer to the child, which would decrease the net amount received by the young adults. And so again, I look at the bank transaction data and I use statistical method to show that, well, actually, well, this effect is quite low, in particular for young adults that are poorer, because parents already don't give too much to start with. And so this crowding out effect is really low on average. That should not be that shouldn't be a reason why not to increase social assistance to young adults. And finally, also what you can have in mind when you think about economy, well, you have to think about the cost. And while actually people can think that increasing social assistance might be costly, but for the cost of young adults, it's not really the case. Because then what I can show is that, well, it would actually increase and kind of push young adults to pursue education. And so it would lead to actually larger income in the longer run, and so lower costs for the government. So the bottom line of this paper, and what I really wanted to show is, well, actually, government should increase social assistance to young adults. It would be welfare enhancing. So we could think about a redistribution coming from older to young adults. And so why the government not doing it? Well, it's still an open question. So it might be because of a political inertia. But at least what I hope is that now economists do have a bit of a sense, theoretical foundation, also empirical foundation, to show that, well, indeed, maybe we should think again about this debate of increasing social assistance to young adults. Thanks a lot.
So the best thesis award for the chemistry department goes to Joanna Ingrid Popovic.
So today I will present you some highlights of my PhD work, which was done in the LCM laboratory at École Polytechnique under the supervision of Doctoral. My work focused on catalysts, their design, and the synthesis. And this is very important because we can find catalysts in everyday life, for example, in catalytic converters. But overall, in industry, unfortunately, the catalysts used rely on precious metals. And this causes diplomatic tensions. That is why, for acid scientists, it's very important to try to substitute those precious metals for abundant ones. And that is what I try to do within my PhD by focusing on some ligands called iminophosphorins, which will enhance the properties of the abundant metals. We were able to show that iminophosphorins are not only great donors, but also very tunable and adaptable and perfectly fit to coordinate to earth-abundant metals. In the rest of my work, I tried to tackle 2 catalysis applications that are heavily used in industry. So we have transfer hydrogenation, which is used to create most of today's products. And we were able to design very interesting abundant metal catalysts with cobalt and manganese, active on a wide range of substrates and with very low catalytic yields. Then we also tackled hydrosilylation, and this time with nickel. This is the first catalyst that can hydrosilylate both type of bonds, and not only does it work on many substrates, but it has the highest group tolerance in all nickel catalysts. What is also very interesting here is its mechanism, because it flaps its wings a bit like a butterfly, like we can see on this cover picture. Overall, with my PhD, I hope I was able to convince that there is a very high potential of using abundant metals in catalysis and also iminophosphorants and in industrial catalysis applications. And overall, I would like just to say a quick thank you to my PhD supervisor, Dr. Offrand, and to all the LCM laboratory. Without them, we couldn't have achieved this work. And of course, thank you.
Thank you, Ioana. So we have 4 more awardees. So the best thesis award for the Humanities, Art, and Language department goes to Thomas Santis. The best thesis award for the Biology department goes to Jiawei Wang. The best thesis award for the Social Sciences and Management department goes to Maxime Cornet. And the best thesis award for the Physics department goes to Aimé Masseron. The 4 of them could not attend today, but they sent us a video. So let's watch together the 4 videos of their work. Thank you.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous. Je m'excuse de ne pas avoir pu assister physiquement à cette cérémonie de remise des prix. Je tenais en premier lieu à remercier le département Sciences sociales et Management pour avoir fait l'honneur de sélectionner ma thèse pour le prix de thèse du département. Et je tenais ensuite évidemment à remercier l'ED et ma direction de thèse pour l'accompagnement tout au long du parcours doctoral. Donc on m'a demandé de garder cette vidéo sous la barre des 3 minutes, ce qui n'est pas exactement évident pour résumer une thèse, donc je vais essayer d'être aussi concis que possible. Ma thèse est une thèse de sociologie économique qui porte sur la constitution des bases de données d'entraînement pour les IA. Donc ce qu'il faut savoir, c'est que ces tâches elles sont assez chronophages et elles sont presque toujours externalisées auprès de prestataires de services qui sont souvent situés dans des pays dits du Sud. Moi, je me suis intéressé au cas français à travers un terrain mené entre Paris et Antananarive, à Madagascar. Et donc dans cette thèse, je m'appuie sur des méthodes d'analyse des réseaux et de traitement automatique de la langue et des entretiens semi-directifs pour montrer que le marché du travail de la donnée est un marché structurellement obscur et peu lisible. Ce manque de lisibilité, il crée un espace où les acteurs sont particulièrement méfiants entre eux et où ils déploient des stratégies de contrôle assez poussées. Par exemple, en détaillant pas aux clients les différentes couches de prestataires qui sont mobilisées pour la production des données. Ce qui renforce encore le manque de visibilité du marché. Et je montre ensuite que c'est précisément ce manque de visibilité qui permet aux entreprises technologiques de dissimuler le travail de la donnée qui est nécessaire à la production et à la maintenance des algorithmes. Et que c'est précisément cette dissimulation qui permet d'une part, pour les entreprises technologiques, de présenter une technologie magique, automatique, et d'autre part, d'abaisser les coûts du travail nécessaires à la production et à la maintenance des algorithmes. Donc si je devais résumer le propos de la thèse en quelques secondes, en fait c'est tout le secteur qui est pris entre une tension entre mise en lumière des modèles pour le marketing et la commercialisation, et dissimulation des travailleurs, pour pouvoir présenter la technologie comme automatique et pour pouvoir abaisser les coûts du travail. Donc si ça vous intéresse, la thèse elle est accessible sur HAL, sur le hall de Télécom. Et voilà, je voulais terminer en disant encore merci à l'ED et au département et en vous souhaitant une bonne fin de cérémonie.
Hello everybody, and many thanks to the IP Paris committee for the award of the best thesis in physics section. So today I cannot be there in person, unfortunately, so in this video I will try to give you a glance of my PhD work. During my PhD, I investigated the physics of extreme electromagnetic field. So it turns out that the universe has a limit on the maximum electromagnetic field you can reach, And so this limit is called the Schwinger field, and it's equal to 10 to the 18 volt per meter, which is huge. If you reach this limit, the quantum vacuum breaks down and a lot of new physical processes will happen, like production of matter-antimatter particle pairs, or vacuum birefringence will arise. We cannot directly reach this extreme field in laboratory, but we can exploit the fact that if you do a collision between a high-energy particle beam and a strong electromagnetic field, in the reference frame of the particle beam, they will experience a field which is boosted by a huge factor, the Lorentz factor. To reach this barrier, I concentrated on two axes during my PhD. The first axe was to use the Stanford Linear Accelerator to accelerate electron beam close to the speed of light at energy around 10 GeV, and collide this beam with a target composed of multiple thin aluminum foil. The effect of this target is to focus and compress the electron beam such that it can reach very high densities. Once the beam has reached very high density, it will create, in turn, an electromagnetic field which can overcome the Schwinger limit in the rest frame of the electrons. The second axis that I investigated during my PhD was to conduct experiments at ultra-intense laser facility like Apollon. So Apollon is the most powerful laser in France, and it allows us to accelerate electrons via the process called laser plasma acceleration. So if you put a foil at the end of this laser plasma accelerator, it allows to reflect the laser, which will collide back with the electrons behind. So during these brutal events, I have shown that electrons can experience up to 30% of the Schwinger field, such that the new quantum processes will happen. This research work has been the fruit of many collaborations, both on the experimental and numerical simulation side. It opens the path toward reaching the greatest electromagnetic field in nature and to study the physics at this frontier. So I want to thank in particular the LOA, the Laboratoire d'Optique Appliquée, who made this work possible, as well as my PhD supervisor, Sébastien Cord. I want also to thank all my colleagues from other facilities like SLAC, Lully, Celia, and CEA. Thank you very much, IP Paris, for this thesis award.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Thomas Santis et j'ai soutenu ma thèse en philosophie à Polytechnique en décembre 2025. Ma thèse s'intitule « L'avenir de la technique, savoir et faire à partir de Heidegger ». En philosophie, on considère généralement que la technique, ce sont les machines, les outils, les procédés par lesquels on agence des moyens en vue d'une fin. Et quand on définit la technique comme ça, on a l'impression que la technique, c'est le domaine du prévisible. Non seulement la machine, l'algorithme feront ce qu'on attend d'eux, mais plus largement, au niveau du développement des techniques, les techniques seront toujours de plus en plus efficaces et de plus en plus perfectionnées. Et on le voit aujourd'hui dans les discours prophétiques sur l'IA, et à la fois du côté des enthousiastes et du côté des catastrophistes. Le point de départ de ma thèse, c'est donc d'interroger cette conception selon laquelle l'avenir de la technique serait prédéterminé. Est-ce qu'il n'y a pas aussi dans la technique une indétermination essentielle qui se révèle dans les accidents et les pannes, mais aussi dans les innovations imprévues, et qui a trait au fait que la technique est le lieu où le savoir-faire n'est jamais achevé, mais il est toujours en cours d'apprentissage. Si c'est le cas, alors on peut parler d'avenir de la technique, non pas au sens d'un futur tracé d'avance, mais au sens d'une ouverture du champ des possibles. Pour aborder cette question, j'ai étudié la conception de la technique chez un grand philosophe allemand du XXe siècle, Martin Heidegger. C'est un philosophe connu pour être un critique de la technique moderne, qui dénonce notre époque de la technique, dans laquelle tout est réduit à des ressources qui sont à disposition pour être exploitées, y compris la Terre, y compris nous-mêmes. En fait, la pensée de Heidegger est plus complexe et elle se développe sur plusieurs décennies. Pour Heidegger, si la technique est aussi importante, c'est parce que notre rapport à l'être est structuré par le savoir-faire, qui se dit en grec ancien « techné », mot qui a donné « technique ». Cette conception est problématique à plusieurs égards, et je montre qu'elle a joué un rôle dans la fascination de Heidegger pour le nazisme et son ambition de construire une nouvelle réalité. Mais si on comprend le savoir-faire comme limité, comme toujours en apprentissage et exposé au risque de l'échec, alors je crois qu'on s'approche d'une conception plus humble et peut-être plus juste de la technique. C'est ce que j'essaie de développer en explorant notamment la dimension écologique de la technique et la question de savoir si la technique peut nous sauver. Merci beaucoup.
Good afternoon, this is Jiawei, and it is a great honor to receive this award, and I sincerely thank you for the opportunity to present my work. Let me start with something familiar. When we think about DNA, we often imagine the double helix, the elegant twisted ladder we all learned in school. But during my PhD, I learned that this picture is only part of the story. In reality, DNA and RNA can fold into many different shapes. Some of these shapes act like tiny switches, controlling how genes are turned on and off. My research focuses on one of these structures, called the G-quadruplex or G4. You can think of it as a small knot forming in specific regions of the genome. These knots are not random. They appear in important places and help regulate key biological processes. But when they go wrong, they are linked to diseases such as cancer, neurodegeneration, and viral infections. So my work started with a simple question. What are these structures really doing, and how can we study them? To answer this, I followed 3 directions. First, I looked at the structure. There are thousands of rare diseases. Each of them affects only a small number of people, but collectively, they impact 3 to 6% of the global population, a significant fraction. I studied one of them, called Canvas, a neurological disorder that affects balance and coordination in adults. At the molecular level, I found that the DNA sequences involved can fold into multiple different shapes, revealing an unexpected level of complexity. Then, I explored the mechanism. I studied how proteins, especially from viruses, interact with these structures, helping us better understand how viruses function. Finally, I developed a tool, because if we want to study or target these structures, we need precision. I designed a protein that can recognize both the structure itself and its surrounding sequence, allowing us to focus on one specific target. In the end, this work connects 3 ideas: structure, mechanism, and tool. And more broadly, it reminds us that genetic material is not just a linear code, but a dynamic system of shapes. Thank you very much.
So right now, I would like to ask all the awardees to come on the stage. You can applaud them one more time. And also the Vice President of Research, Jamal Atif, and my colleague, Olivier Lemaitre. You can come with your... Okay. So right now, one more time, I would like to sincerely congratulate each and every of you. I'm excited to follow the innovative research you'll create and celebrate your achievements to come. So wishing you all a wonderful evening, and thank you for being part of this IP Paris PhD graduation ceremony. So let's give a warm round of applause of all of you.
So to conclude, congratulations again to our graduates. And I want to say a word of thank you as well to the friends and family who have supported them, not just to this point, but hopefully for the next step after. Whatever the next step might look like for you. Maybe it looks like a postdoc, maybe it looks like a startup, maybe it looks like starting that bakery or that cafe that we all talked about at some point. Anyways, I'm not going to drag this on for too long. We're going to do one last thing. It's going to be really quick. It's going to be super fun. I'm inviting all of the graduates to come back on the stage. We'll take a couple of pictures, and then we get to do the traditional cap toss. We'll take just a few more pictures, and don't they look so lovely on the stage? Okay, now we're gonna get ready for the cap toss. Don't do it right now. I will give you the sign. We go on 3. So I'll say 1, 2, 3, and then we do it. Not right this second. Okay, are we all ready? Ready for a cool picture? 1, 2, 3. Go team.